Hello, hello, Charles Van Morgan Show. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. So we got a little bit of a different setup today because it's a little bit too cold outside. Move this out of the way. It's a little bit too cold outside to broadcast outside at the bridge, so we'll do that later. So a little bit, I set up a makeshift studio. Thank you all very much. Got a wonderful show for you today. As you've seen the screenshot, we're using propaganda because we are in a actual, literal, declared war of truth. Not a war of bullets, not a war of violence, a war of truth. This is Charles Van Morgan Show. Welcome. Come on in. And part of the war of truth of propaganda, as declared by Andy Ogles, December the 5th, is to disseminate truthful propaganda in their own words, using pictures. A picture's worth 1,000 words. So part of a war, and the war that we're in, not a war of violence, is propaganda. And part of that propaganda is to demoralize the enemy. And if you think that's a little extreme, that is their own words in pictures, then you are very sadly mistaken because they tried to put a hit out on me. So their own mistakes can be used against them. Look at this right here. Put my name on the front page of the paper, not once, numerous times, putting a hit out on me. That woman, and you can make of that picture whatever you want, was trying to put a hit out on me. So to put her own picture out is not over the edge. So let's see if we got any people in here. Enjoy my makeshift studio. Charles Van Morgan, got a wonderful show for you today. We're going to talk about propaganda. We're going to talk about the decimation of abomination by that Daniel the prophet mentioned, and we're going to talk about that, how that symbolically talks about how things are going in the state of Tennessee. Abomination of decimation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, and symbolically compare that to what's going on in the state of Tennessee. Welcome, come on board. Got a great show for you today. A propaganda war is not pretty, but it is necessary to protect our rights because they are by abominations decimating our rights, and we have to fight back. It's not pretty, but they can hold up the white flag at any time. They don't want to. They don't want to hold up the white flag. So we are obligated to defend our constitutional rights and have an obligation to do that. We're fighting for you. I hope you appreciate that. We're out front taking the heat, and what they are doing is abomination of decimation, symbolically as mentioned by Daniel the prophet. Let's see if we got people in here. Thank y'all very much. I have to go behind the camera because it's praised. Thank y'all very much for watching. So yeah, we got quite a few in here. So like, share, and comment. And let's get this show on the road. So what Daniel talked about in Matthew 24:15, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Jesus is giving a warning, not a riddle. He is telling people to pay attention when corruption shows up where it does not belong. So symbolically, Jesus is telling us in the Bible, symbolically, when corruption shows up where it don't belong. And I'm telling you today that corruption has shown up in our state government institutions, in our courthouses, in our hospitals, in our government officials. Corruption has, in fact, shown up. And it is an abomination. So what abomination means? Abomination means moral corruption. An abomination is something evil, corrupt, or morally disgusting, pretending to be legitimate or righteous. So we have, in fact, in the state of Tennessee, moral corruption that are in our public institutions, in our courthouses, in our judiciary, elected in our government offices, in our government officials. Now, not every one of them, but they have infiltrated our government offices, and we have a situation of pure corruption, abomination in our places of public trust. Now, I remember when I was in a position of public trust. Now, I took that as a godly calling, as something that I needed to do and uphold the right, and that going against that would be to be going against the very calling of God Almighty to corrupt that. So I took all the measures when I put on my uniform and when I went 10-8 on the radio to obey the calling of God, to put myself at risk and to do right for the public good, for the public safety. To defile that would be an abomination of my agreement to the mass population. The government is a form of a holy place. To be in government power is to accept that God has given you the authority to do right, to obey right, to put forth your efforts to do sacrifice for the public good. And that's what I did. What we have now is an abomination. What we have now in our public offices, in our public governments, in our judiciary, in our offices of public trust is an abomination. It is in fact morally corrupt. An abomination is something evil, corrupt, or morally disgusting, pretending to be legitimate or righteous. And these people in government power, in government offices, are pretending to be legitimate. They're pretending to do what's right to serve the public, but in fact, they do not. They are serving themselves. It is very disgusting. It's an abomination what these people have infiltrated our government are doing to us. December the 5th, 2025, we've been fighting this before, skirmishes, the buildup and the negotiation, the trying to get them to come to some consensus of serving the public for years now, and they have violated every effort, every olive branch we've handed them to try to say, cooperate with the public, do what you said you would do, obey the Constitution, and they've refused to do that. They just refuse to do that. They're not going to do that. And thankfully, through prayer, through hard work, through divine intervention, God has allowed through legitimate means, through what it spells out in the Bible, that war has been declared. December 5th, 2025, Andy Ogles put out a statement, an official statement, a statesman, and that's how wars are declared, through statesmen, not through citizens, through statesmen. I'm a citizen. I was wrongfully kicked out of state government because of abomination by somebody you see in that picture. And that picture is meant as propaganda because we're at war now to demoralize that person. That's their own picture and that's their own thinking. I'm just showing you how they think and what they want to do. And that's their own doing. They mass disseminated that. Now they put out pictures of me on the front page of the paper as a hit out on me, is what they done. And so if you think that's a little absurd, they literally chased my children. So it's not. We're at a propaganda war. And that's fair game. If you don't believe that, there's a button on your channel, you can turn it. If you want to win, go forth in this war, this truthful war. We're on the right side. They're on the wrong side. They've been on the wrong side. They are dependent on us being nice. But nice is over. War has been declared. And we are going to fight this with forethought and justifiable malice to, so to speak, symbolically annihilate the enemies, at least their effectiveness, to where people know that they are not legitimate. So let's see how many people we got in here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Get the message out. In the past about 3 months, we've talked to 1.6 million people, thank the good Lord in heaven. So the build up to the propaganda war, not of bullets, of propaganda, of mass dissemination of information is on. So let's see how many people got in here. If you got questions, ask them. And like, share, comment. So yeah, we got quite a few people. Thank you very much. And so we'll go on with this. We're talking about symbolically how in the last days there is going to be a evil, wicked leader that's going to rise up, and he's going to deceive the public, and he's going to take over the temple in Jerusalem that will be built according to prophecy, and he's going to defile the temple. He's in that sacred place. He is going to have people offer sacrifices to himself and present himself as God. Symbolically, in the United States, in the state of Tennessee, people have infiltrated our public offices, our sacred public offices, where these people have sworn to uphold the law, sworn to protect the public, and they have infiltrated our public offices, committed abomination of our sacred government offices, our places of public trust, our courthouses where we expect judiciary to adjudicate in the public's favor to protect the public. And they don't. They have committed an atrocious abomination. And that's what this is about. We're putting this out worldwide. This is not, and don't be misunderstood, a war of bullets or any kind of violence on our part. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that these people, in my opinion, are very violent towards us. And I'm saying don't return that violence. Don't return that violence. You have every right. Everybody's got every right to self-defense. I can't tell you to defend yourself. That's a God-given right. But we are not going to use any type of violence. This is a well thought out, well planned propaganda war against people who have committed a abomination of decimation of our public offices. Similar to what was prophesied by Daniel the prophet in talking about what's going to happen in Jerusalem in the temple in the last days, because that is the thinking of mankind these days, of people in power. They think they are God, and they set themselves up in our government and commit horrendous abominations against the mass population. But, and I know there is a lot of people who are very reluctant to believe that there's anything we can do about it, that are hopeless. And I have heard that a lot, but I don't agree with that. There is a lot we can do about this. There's a hell of a lot we can do about this, and that's what I'm doing right now. We can fight this, and we can win. We can humiliate and demoralize the enemy with their own actions. I mean, they are who they are. All we have to do is show what they show. And that's exactly what I intend to do. And if you're on board, subscribe. We can win this war of propaganda and attrition, beating them down, not quitting. The truth has weight and value. They don't have the truth. They got self-serving interest, and we're going to show you about some of the things they do. It is so absurd, and we're going to talk about a means to figure out what they're doing. We're going to talk about something a little unique that you don't hear a lot of people talk about. That's a little unique because they live in an alternative universe. They live in an alternative universe. It's not a real universe. It's a universe that they have made up that is fake, that is false, that is false propaganda. The propaganda I'm putting out is their own pictures, their own words, their own actions, their own deeds. They live in an alternative universe. They live in a universe that is not real. It's a facade that they tell you every single day. And that's what this channel is important for. I'm going to tell you the truth, how things really are. Now, this is important because the news media puts out their trash every day. Almost every channel on the news, trash, 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 lies, lies, lies. Alternative universe. Stuff that's not real, couldn't happen, didn't happen that way. And if you think about it, if you use intuition, you can figure this damn stuff out pretty easily. But they lie to you. They present an alternative universe, stuff that's not true, that's absolutely, completely false. They put it in the news media. They have friends and family spread it. They have political parties spread complete, total lies that are false, that are against you. They have a lot of influence. They have a lot of social power. Government agencies, through their court rulings, spread the alternative universe that is a fake, false universe. They tell you that and tell you that and tell you that. It's called propaganda. It's false. The alternative universe is in Google. You can type information, whatever you want to know, type something in Google, and it'll present everything that their alternative universe wants you to believe. You can't believe Google. You can't believe the news media. They present to you an alternative universe that's not real, that's fake, that benefits them, that's an abomination, that tries to get their way and tries to believe that stuff. It happened in a lot of times. Keep repeating a lie long enough in enough ways and have that the only information out there, and you'll get over a lot of people in a lot of ways. That's why this channel is so important. This is not alternative universe. This is the real facts, real boots, really on the real ground that knows really what goes on in the world. I'm not a novice. I've lived a pretty long time. I've seen a lot of bad. I've had my boots on the ground. I've seen a lot of death and sorrow. I know what's really right and I know what's really wrong. And if you really want to know the real truth, then don't just hold up the Bible that they hold up to fool you. Open it up and read it and see what it really says. They won't tell you what it says. They'll stand on that to give themselves legitimacy when it is completely to substantiate their alternative universe. I mean, look at the Mr. Governor over the state of Tennessee, his alternative universe. He campaigned in the church, loving neighbors more than ourselves, opposing injustice wherever we find it. Opposing injustice where we find it. The injustice is right there. The injustice in our courts. The injustice has been declared by another statesman, and he won't even take a side. That speaks volumes. His court-appointed judges that he stands on the Bible to appoint that abominate the will of the American people, the will of Tennesseans. That's an abomination. That's his alternative world. His alternative world is a world that puts former Governor Bill Haslam's name, Bill Haslam's what I call him, on the University of Tennessee. Their alternative universe spreads their names all over the place, so you got to think they're pretty good people, right? Standing firm on our principles even when it's unpopular. His principles are very popular because they're spread everywhere by everybody all the damn time. Nobody tells you the truth about things. Very few people tell you the truth about things. This channel, Charles Van Morgan, Unbridled News, is where you get the truth, not their alternative universe. He's got an alternative universe. Standing in the Christian church. That's an abomination. Bringing those lies, bringing this power group into the church and saying this is legitimate to worship and serve them while they are decimating you. They're decimating you. Look around. See the hospitals closed. See how they're treating the poor and the needy and the sick and the afflicted and the widows. And see what they're doing to pervert justice. And you'll see, this is an abomination, what he's doing. And it is decimating us. But he has led the government that way. No, he has what he's done instead. That's an abomination. And it is very wrong. And they use Christianity to do that stuff. And we have been declared. Fortunately enough, we're in the stage right now, and I'm guiding this, a servant of the Lord Jesus Christ, guiding this spiritual warfare, this victory, which it will be, against the elite people in power that have committed abomination against the mass population of the state of Tennessee, making us serve them. Let's see how many people got in here. Thank y'all for coming. So yeah, quite a few. Thank y'all very much. Like, share, comment. So too cold today to walk out by the beautiful bridge. We'll continue doing that later. Still, we got a great show for you today. We're in the engagement side of things now. The games are over, and we're talking about the abomination of decimation as spoken by Daniel the prophet, as symbolically to what's going on in the state of Tennessee now, using the scripture to show you man's framework, how people think. And we need to think the way truth thinks and not listen to their bullshit. And they're full of it. And it's so very obvious to see. Now you can believe all you want to about them. You see the truth sometimes only written in one line or open questions, never spelled out. So you'll find newspaper articles where it presents a story and you'll see just one little line in there that hangs on by itself, and you think, and then they go on and they don't tell you what that means. But if you really want to know what it means, hang on to every word they say and measure that against the truth, and you'll see sometimes what the truth means. Because they'll sell you a story. The story is usually in the headline that they want to tell you. But there's little snippets of truth in some of the news articles, in some of what they say. It gets out. The truth has weight and value, and the truth has tracks. And you can see, just like this article here. This article here says that trooper loses appeal. Family calls firing comforting. So this right here is saying that I'm bad, that I lost, and idolizing a family that was the parents of somebody that was drunk driving, killed themselves. And that's what they're selling you. Do you believe that? And the trooper bad, family of violent, dangerous man, good. I mean, that's what they're telling you. That's the story. So you can see just a little snippet. That's the newsman. That's their alternative world. In nobody's world is a trooper bad for trying to arrest and protect a drunk driver. That's just ludicrous. But in an alternative world, they own the news. They own the 24/7. They keep telling that lies. And Major Stacy Heatherly was a spokesman for the news media. No one could speak to the news media except her with the Department of Safety. So she's the one that put out that trash. So if you think, that's what she does, that's the truth. That's not an alternative world, that's the truth. That's their own, and that's not bad propaganda. That is a war. If you didn't want to fight, you shouldn't have started it. If you don't want to fight, hold up that red flag, but this truth effort is already on the way. You're going to have to take the first rounds. And I would suggest that they put up the red flag, that some of them resign, that I would strongly, but they won't. But I'm just trying to show you that I'm not an unreasonable person. They are. They will go on in the wrong until we stop them. Just like the man on the table the other day that got executed admitted that he would still go on in his wrong. He would still been raping and murdering unless someone has stopped him and they juiced him up, put him out. And not symbolically, we're not going to put them out, but symbolically, we've got to show their character. We can't act like they're good people when they're not. They're 10 times worse than what you thought they were. I guarantee you that. So an abomination is something evil, corrupt, morally disgusting, pertaining to legitimate or righteous. So that's our government offices. Something evil pertaining to our government offices, and that's what they do. What desolation means. Desolation, the damage that follows. Desolation means emptiness, destruction, suffering, death. It always comes after corruption takes over. So you look at what's happened in the Tennessee government since they took me off the road, since they have demoralized people that go out and save lives. The traffic fatality rate has skyrocketed, 45% more dead people on the roads. I mean, those are numbers. But if you have ever been in law enforcement or watched a wreck on TV, to actually go out to the scene of these incidences when you're a professional called emergency worker or firefighter, and you actually see the body of a child laying there, mangled up sometimes, or maybe in the instance where they dismissed a case without even penalty, blaming it on me, where I put the driver in jail, a child that's been hit in the head and suffering serious complications, brain damage because of a drunk driver, and you see him driving that child out of the scene to go to the hospital, and the drunk driver is there, and you put that together, how it happened, and you talk to witnesses, and they tell you that the man came down the hill at a high rate of speed, swerving around cars, and went off the road for no apparent reason in a curve, and went off the right side of the road and flipped the car over, and you realize, and then something hit the child in the head in his car. And while you're at the scene of that particular wreck, a truck comes flying down the hill and has a wreck into the emergency equipment, and you almost lose your life, and other people almost lose their life. The horrificness of this happening, and you do your job and bring that person into court. And then these people, I mean, that's real. And you see the mass destruction. It's surreal. It's not like watching on TV. It is real. And these people in positions of public care, in positions of public legitimacy, have committed abomination. They have entered into areas of sanctity, of public trust, of where people should put their own wishes and desires aside to serve the public, or they shouldn't be in those professions. And I was in the profession, as many troopers are in the profession, as many officers are in the profession, to protect the public. And then you see this stuff, boots on the ground. You see the real wars. And I know I talked to a Vietnam veteran, and there's a lot of press out about Vietnam veterans, how they killed little children. They came back and called them baby killers. And it is real easy to sit on a couch, sofa, and to sit back and watch your TV and to judge, a Monday morning quarterback. It's worse than Monday morning quarterbacking. You're adjudicating, sitting back on your royal highnesses, and these people are that sit in public offices, and it's pretty disgusting. You're disgusting if you do this, and you're adjudicating. You're making decisions about soldiers out on boots on the ground, risking their life, defending you. You wouldn't have a nation. You won't have a country. You won't have a livelihood. You won't have a Constitution of the United States. You won't have freedom of speech. You won't even be able to listen to me if you don't have these soldiers out that you sit on your hind end and say, well, they shouldn't have done that little thing or shouldn't have done that little thing. I mean, give them, and they earn this. They deserve this, and you better give it to them. You have no right to give them the benefit of the doubt. Every damn time, all the time. And go a little further. They're protecting your rights where you can. Where it's obvious, I get it. Where it's obvious, I get it. Where it's not obvious, you have no right. You have no right. A principle in the Bible is in Sodom and Gomorrah. God was going to spare Sodom and Gomorrah if there had been 10 righteous people there. Rather than let 10 righteous people get destroyed with a whole bunch of evil people, he was going to spare the whole city. Now, it turned out there wasn't. But it is a very obvious concept that where you have men and women out on the road fighting for public safety, for your public safety. No, I'm not saying let wrong go on, but give them the benefit of the doubt. And I've talked to Vietnam soldiers, and the horrific things that they had to go there, the atrocities that they went through, and they came back and people called them baby killers, sitting on their royal highnesses, and a lot of news press out about stuff that went on over there that wasn't right. And I've talked to Vietnam soldiers, and they said, quite frankly, and I get their attitude, and I respect their attitude. I'd have killed every damn one of them because these people were murdering them. They got called to a war they didn't ask for, fighting for the United States of America. We should honor these people. And some of them to this day, I've talked to them, and they say, I say, at least time has got it right. And they tell me, no, not necessarily. That's the public perception. That's the public facade. And it is. That's the alternative world. But it still hadn't gotten it right. Vietnam soldiers still don't get treated the way they ought to be treated. And that's pretty disgusting. That's the alternative world that we live in, that's perpetrated by people in public power in our government right now. It's an abomination. It's a very serious thing, and I'm not ashamed to fight that. I'm fighting it tooth and nail, And if you think it ain't pretty, then war ain't pretty. They shouldn't have started it. They shouldn't present their alternative world. That's a bunch of fake, false stuff that damages you, that puts a trooper hung out to dry and blames me for the stuff they did, for the horrific stuff they did. And they did it behind safety in courthouse doors, protected by your tax money. And you think I'm being too rude? I could have lost my life. Thank the good Lord in heaven I didn't. I'm here to fight. And they have tried to kill me. Unfortunately for them, very unfortunate for them, because I'm a fighter. That's how I was able to do what I did for the public. They didn't get it done, and I'm still here. And now I'm fighting them for the truth, fighting against our alternative world. Let's see how many people got on here. We'll continue talking about the decimation of this desolation, the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet. So many people got in here. Thank y'all. Thank y'all very much. Got about 100 people in here. So we need a few more. So like, share, spread the message. So what desolation means? Desolation is damage that follows. Desolation means emphasis, destruction, suffering, death. It always comes after corruption takes over, and that's what's happening now. Standing in the holy place, corruption in a place meant to protect. The holy place isn't just a building. It means institutions meant to protect life, truth, and justice. In Jesus' time, it was the temple. Today, it's courts, medicine, government, media. So the core warning, corruption replacing protection. Jesus is saying, when something is corrupt, takes control of what was meant to serve people, destruction follows. This is abomination of desolation. So what we have is people, corrupt people in government power, have infiltrated our government offices and committed abominations. And it is causing desolation of the mass society, and that's what we're fighting. Through peaceful means, through propaganda, putting out truthful propaganda, demoralizing the enemy with their own information, stuff they put out themselves. So, and we have every God-given right and authority to do that. And you see, here is a Knox County line sheriff deputy that is lied on police reports, that is part of the warrants department, and the warrants department just killed somebody here about a mile from here. They don't have any body camera, and we're supposed to believe people like Joe Walker. And that's not propaganda, that's the truth. If he didn't want me to say that, he shouldn't have lied in the report. He lied in the report against me. And he works for the sheriff's department. Abomination, he's got in a sacred place of a sheriff's deputy. Got in a sacred place. Getting money from taxpayers to provide for public safety, to write truthful reports. This is the truth. People don't like to hear this. This is the truth. Their alternative world, their alt world, alternative world, put out by the news, put out by CNN, NBC, CBS, put out by friends and relatives, put out by people in power every day, all day. They tell you he's a good person. Lies in police reports. That's important. That's an abomination in an important place in government service. The decimation is when they kill somebody, and they did about 6 miles from here. The warrants department. He's a member of the warrants department. They wrote a police report. They said they didn't do anything wrong. He wrote a police report. He's in that same organization that says that I did something wrong when I could obviously say I didn't based on witness testimony. Factually, I can show he lied in a police report. So we're supposed to believe their reports. That's an abomination. So how do we know to trust them? Now, I don't know whether it was where they had a right to defend themselves where they needed to, or they just went in somebody's house and shot them. But it's abomination, and it causes desolation, causes death. Joe Walker, that's what he did. Now that's truthful propaganda, fighting their alternative world, their propaganda, their lies. They tell you he's a good person. No, he's not. He lies. So we can't trust their agencies. Now, I'm not saying that we should not bless them that curse us and pray for them that despitefully use us. We should do that. I'm not saying the chief deputy of the sheriff's department is in the hospital right now. I pray for him. I pray for his safety, health, protection, well-being. He's running for sheriff, chief line. I hope that if he wins the sheriff's office, that he corrects their alternate world and starts serving the public, because the sheriff's department right now is not serving the public. They're not. They're not serving the public at all. When I worked in Knox County as a state trooper, I worked with the sheriff's department. Now, some of them are serving the public, and this is the truth. Hey, I got a right to say it. If you don't like it, turn the channel off. You can go listen to a bunch of lies. I'm telling you the truth. It's not the truth as I see it. It is the truth. It is the truth. This is to protect you. It actually puts me in danger. So they would put out stuff on the radio. Professional sheriff's department. Now, there's some deputies that are good. They put out stuff on the radio about us, negatively about us, because they knew we monitor their channel, and they'd say stuff about stuff, and because a trooper wrote some of them some tickets or something, some of the people in the jail, and that made them mad. So the professional department that gets buku amounts of money. You'd hear on the radio, because we'd be scanning their channel, so we'd know when their dispatcher put out a armed robbery somewhere, so we'd know if we got out of a patrol car, walked in the store, there's armed robbery in progress. Or we would, the other reason would be if they called us for assistance, we'd know what was going on so we could help protect the deputies. And they put out trash about us on the radio. It would make us have to listen to that, know that, playing little dirty games. That's the Knox County Sheriff's Department. From behind the scenes, I know as a trooper, disgusting agency at the top for the most part. Allow that trash to go on, and it's a trashy agency. The way they run that agency is pathetic and sick. And a lot of deputies, they would thank you for saying that, man. They want it cleaned up. They don't like working there. They don't like the trash that they have to put up with. And it is put up with a Republican Christian that's asking us to pray for Chief Line. I'll pray for Chief Line. I will, absolutely. May God heal Chief Line. I put that on my Facebook page. Because the command in the Bible to pray for our enemies, pray for them to spitefully use us. The sheriff's department in Knox County is not run right. They're not run right. I still pray for my enemies, and I pray that he will be held accountable for his being deputy chief, how he's mismanaged the sheriff's department. But I hope that he's well. You know the difference between that. The difference between that is they would like to kill me. If they could get a shot in at me and justify it and lie about it, they would. The Knox County Sheriff's Department would kill me. They've already done some pretty dirty, wicked stuff to me. And so I'm just saying, that's the truth. You don't want to hear that? You want to hear it anywhere else? Unbridled news. Not their alternative world, the real truth with boots on the ground. Somebody that protected more lives than anybody in the whole state of Tennessee for more than half a decade. That's the facts. Read between the lines. You show me a deputy sheriff that's done what I'm doing. They're too busy worshiping the brass and taking care of the elite and getting your money and getting fancy retirements instead of serving the public. Something needs to be done. The sheriff's rate's coming up. I'm not sure I'd vote for any damn one of them. They decide who gets to even be on the ballot. And it's a very dangerous situation. The Knox County Sheriff's Department, under the Christian sheriff, and I'm saying pray for their safety. I'm not saying do anything wrong. That's the difference. They'd like to do something wrong to me. I pray for them, their safety, and I believe that God will protect me. I believe that it is God's will that I'm putting out the truth to the mass public. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Spread this message. It's the truth. They need to put pressure on them that we are looking. We're watching what you're doing, and we don't believe what you say. We know you lie. I've showed you how they lie. That's the truth. That's not an alternative world. That's a fact. They do. I just found the lie and pointed it out. They don't want people to know that. I'll tell them that. And if they don't like it, they can lump it. They can get a press conference and put out that Charles Van Morgan's a liar. He didn't know what he's talking about. He drove past a wreck and seen a wreck, and which doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm in pursuit trying to find the wreck. The only explanation is, the truthful explanation is, that I saw it as a parked car, which is what it looked like to me. Let's see how many people got on here. Thank you all for showing up. Like, share, comment. We'll continue with this dialogue, and we're going to talk about some interesting stuff about how you can figure out their alt world, their lies, about a good way to figure out when they're lying to you, which is pretty much all the time. So thank y'all for showing up. I appreciate it. So yeah, we got a few people in here. Like, share, comment. So this, let the reader understand. Discernment, Jesus is telling people, don't wait for permission, don't wait for officials, don't wait for the system to admit. If you see it, recognize it. And we see a lot of oppression, a lot of abomination and decimation symbolically by people in government office. What Jesus said to do. Jesus said to flee, which means withdraw. Trust. Jesus did not say attack, revolt, hurt anyone. He said to flee, meaning stop trusting, stop legitimizing, stop participating blindly. So we need to stop putting our confidence in people in public power. We need to stop putting our confidence in it. We need to quit legitimizing this alternative world and quit participating in their decimation of society. It was predicted in the last days there's going to be an evil man to arise, and it's human nature, it's a human spirit that's in the state of Tennessee right now. And I'm just showing you symbolically how the abomination of decimation, as predicted by Daniel the prophet to take place in the last days in the temple, is taking place in the state of Tennessee in our government offices. If you can see the picture that I'm painting, and that is the truth. And we're at war. So what Jesus said, stop trusting, stop legitimizing, stop participating blindly. Modern application, same pattern, different institutions. When medicine serves power instead of patience. You know, these people live to be ripe old ages. I mean, if me or you or a lot of people that got sick that can't afford medical care, that can't afford the best medical treatment, we die early. And I'm praying for Chief Line. And I believe God answers prayer. And these people they claim to be Christian. Would they pray for me? I couldn't even go to the hospital ICU if I were in bad condition. And I know that in the United States of America, if you have life-threatening injuries, they're supposed to take care of you legally, legitimately, under the law in the United States of America. If you have a life-threatening injury, if you don't have a dime in your pocket, and I do have a little money, if you don't have a dime in your pocket, then the hospital has to sustain life-threatening injuries or life-threatening until you can survive on your own. So technically speaking, if I needed to go to the ICU, then they would put me in the ICU in their alternative world according to their laws. In reality, you know, this happens every day. It's the truth. It happens every day under the Christian governor, under the Christian sheriff, under our Christian administration. They walk around, they hold that Bible up. Oh, wow. You know what they do? To get legitimacy when that's what they want to do. But technically, just like we had in a case just a few years ago, where a lady was in the hospital, they released her from the hospital. She needed to continue to have ICU treatment, life-saving emergency medical care, because she would have died. She wasn't stable. They released her, and she told them that she didn't feel right. Something was wrong. Asked them to continue to treat her to keep her alive until she recovered. They didn't do that. The Knoxville police were involved in this. And I would have handled it differently. One of them now is involved in a domestic case, and I don't know, it's severe. Choked a relative to where they, a stepchild, I think, to where they passed them out. But you know, realistically, the law and the way things work by them are two completely different things. I mean, this is the way the law says, this is what the Constitution says, but the way they handle it in their alt world is how it benefits them. So if you got a lot of money, and God bless Chief Line, he's in the hospital, I pray for him, and I do, and I'm glad he's in ICU getting the best medical care he can. But you and me both know, I mean, let's be real. If a mass populace, a citizen needed that kind of medical care. And he's a public servant. He's not above us. He's supposed to actually be serving us, put us above him. If we needed intensive medical care, prolonged, we probably would be dead, probably wouldn't get it. That's just a fact. I mean, you can lie to yourself all day long you want to. That's abomination of decimation. That's a position of power that gets whatever they damn well want whenever they need it. And that is fine. You get that. You do too. What I'm fighting for, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. And I pray for him. What I'm fighting for is the mass populace, is you. If you think you get the same treatment as them, then you go right on and think that. I'm telling you, as a matter of fact, you do not, and you never will if you leave things the same. That's what I'm fighting. Good. Let him be in the hospital, and I'll pray for him, and I'll continue to pray for him in ICU. You need that same opportunity, that same right. They don't need to be lifted up above us and treated like they're gods. They're not gods. That is part of the abomination. They have invaded the sanctity of our government offices and used them to declare themselves gods. And that's the abomination, to get special treatment, to get stuff that even the law requires that they don't give us. A lady died because she needed treatment, died in the back seat of a police car. I don't hear the public outcry about her because she wasn't in a position of power. She didn't deserve to be treated like a human being. These people aren't better than us. They need to be public servants. They are lifted up as rock stars, as movie stars, as great people, as wonderful people. We should be treated better than the mass populace that they're supposed to serve. Does that sound right to you? Does that sound right to you? Does that sound American to you? Or does that sound like abomination of desolation that was spoken of symbolically by Daniel the prophet? That's exactly what it is. You won't hear that anywhere else. You won't hear that anywhere else. I want fair treatment. I want fair treatment for the grandmother down here that doesn't have medical treatment to be kept in ICU and be kept alive, just like Bernie Lyon is. I want her to be prayed for, just like Bernie Lyon is. He should have no more rights. He's lived off the public tax dollar for years. He's under the administration that's hired a liar that's decimated our courthouse, that had rapes going on by a judge. Should he be treated better? He should be, if anything, held to a higher standard. But people are afraid to speak the truth to power. I'm not afraid to speak the truth to power. God sent Van. God sent Van. You better be happy that I'm here, because it's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any. They have declared themselves gods and asked us to bow down and worship them. Not by saying that, by indeed. That's what they do, and that's how they're doing it. Now, pray for them when they need prayer. That's fine. I get it. And I'll be right in with them to pray for them. But how about pray for me? How about pray for the other people that need help too? They're not above us. They are public servants. Are we worshiping them, bowing down? That's what I think is going on. Let's see how many people we got in here. We'll continue this dialogue. If you don't like it, then push that channel and go on. Or stay with me and I'll convince you to listen to a little bit of truth. Their world is done. I'm telling you, speaking the truth. And we can do something about it. So yeah, we got quite a few people in here. Like, share, comment. Got my nice suit on. Too cold to go down to the bridge. We'll do that in the future. So pray for Michelle's health. Michelle Marie Morgan, pray for her health. She served the public and wasn't done right by the public or the people in power. Modern application, same pattern, different institutions. When medicine conserves power instead of patience. Everybody needs their human rights and dignity. They don't get it in their alt world. We worship them. You don't hear news press put out about a grandmother that has 5 grandchildren and has worked hard to support her children and paid taxes to Mr. Bernie Lyon all her life, but isn't it out in the public to pray for her, do you? Why not? Why do we honor and raise to high value these public servants? And I know these public servants, I've heard them on the radio criticizing other public servants. They're not gods. They're not even good people, most of them. That's the truth. I've heard it myself. That's not hearsay. That's what I heard them say. Media defends elites instead of truth. He's got his picture on the front paper and the front of the paper. If I got sick, would they have my picture? They have my picture out trying to kill me. That's what they do. That's what the government, that's abomination. That's abomination. That corruption standing where protection should be. The line that sums it up, simple truth. VIP medicine saves lives. Poverty kills. That's not an accident. You know, if you live in public office and you perpetrate the will of the people in public and you maintain their power, you lie for them, you do what the hell they want you to do, then you're fine. You'll get whatever you want. If you stand up for the mass populace, if you stand up for the truth, if you stand up for human rights, if you stand up for the Constitution, if you protect the public, then they will attack you. They'll put out false propaganda against you in their alt world. But God sent Van to fight these people, and that's exactly what I'm doing, fighting them with truthful, their own propaganda. I mean, that's who these people are. I don't have to go hunt and dig, and a lot of people with me. Be careful dealing with these people. They're very dangerous people. They don't have to worry about us, and they know it. I wouldn't hurt anybody, wouldn't shoot anybody, wouldn't kill anybody, wouldn't resist arrest, wouldn't do anything illegal or criminal. Now, I'll fight like hell with truthful propaganda, but they're dangerous toward us, and they know it, but the truth gets out. The problem with that is there's more of us than there are them. I have had 1.6 million people in the past, about 3 months, listen to this channel. That's like going in Neyland Stadium and being able to speak. And it's even better than going in Neyland Stadium. Being able to speak 16 times in Neyland Stadium. And that's even better than going in Neyland Stadium and being able to speak 16 times, because people have heard this message of fighting propaganda, truthful, against people in government power that are abomination in our government offices that are decimating us. They've heard me speak 16 times, 100,000 people 16 times, and it's better than that because this is people that have paid attention to what I'm saying, not just people that logged in. 1,600,000 people that for a significant period of time, unlike the stadium where you can be in there speaking, not everybody's listening. This is 1.6 million people that are actually listening, that have clicked on the channel and are paying attention to what I'm saying for a significant period of time. So it's even better than Neyland Stadium. A heck of a lot better. And thank you very much. We're getting the word out. We're getting the truth out. It's not pretty. War's not pretty. They shouldn't have started it. They shouldn't have asked for it. They picked the wrong dog. They picked all of us, mass Tennesseans. You thought you'd hear it from some government official in a fancy office with a flag and gold-plated items around somebody rich. How about from somebody raised before he was 2 without a father that learned how to fight like David? That's who you're hearing it from. God works in mysterious ways. This is how God's working. Today, 2025 in December, this is how God is working. In the month of Hanukkah, which was to cleanse the temple from the decimation that occurred back in the 1st century. And there's going to be more in the future. So you use discernment. Jesus telling people, don't wait for mission, don't wait for officials, don't wait for the system to admit it. If you see it, recognize it. What Jesus said to do, withdraw, trust. Jesus did not say attack, revolt, hurt anyone. He said flee, meaning to stop trusting. I don't mean to run away from them. It means to quit giving them and quit participating in their illegitimacy. Stop legitimizing, stop participating. Modern application, same pattern, different institutions. When medicine serves power instead of patience. Courts protect status instead of justice. The courts. Boy, you go in the Tennessee courtroom, you won't get a fair hearing in the state of Tennessee. You won't get a fair hearing. The court system, literally in Knox County and in most counties, they have a code, an ordinance that when a judge finds somebody guilty, that they get money that goes in their retirement. When they find somebody guilty, they have to pay court costs and fine that perpetrates the crooked court system. It's about getting your money. It's about getting your money. I literally had courts when I was a trooper, and I didn't do it for the money, that would say, thank you for your business, because I was bringing in them business, bringing in them money. I was doing it for the correct, proper purpose to keep down the fatality rate. I thought that was a little bit odd for them to say that, but that's exactly even how they look at it. It's about the money. So media defends elites instead of the truth. So they pop out this propaganda 24/7 and tell you a bunch of lies that aren't true. It's propaganda. It is false propaganda. If you type in stuff in Google, if you type in stuff in artificial intelligence, it puts out information that they want you to know, that they want you to think, and frames it in a way to lead you on a trip that's not true, which is totally absurd. There's a whole world of information out there that they don't print nothing about. And if you look hard enough, you can read between the lines of some of the stuff they're putting out, and you can tell exactly what's going on. Don't read the headline, read stuff in between where some reporters have asked questions that have been answered with a lie. And look at the real truth. Don't listen to their alternate world. I can guarantee you almost every news report is so full of lies, so full of falsehood, so far of leading you down a false path so that they tell you what they want you to believe. It's not the truth. I'm here to tell you the honest to God truth. Have nothing to lose. So listen to what I'm telling you. There's corruption standing. Media defends elites instead of truth. There's corruption standing where protection should be. They protect themselves. The line that sums it up, simple truth. VIP medicine saves lives. Poverty kills. That's not an accident. The desolation following desecration. How we respond. Information and voting war. This is a voting war. This is an information and voting war. Every damn one of them, vote them out. There's a judicial election coming up next year. Every judge that's on the ballot, vote them out. Send them a message. We're not buying what you're saying. We know what you say. It's in every article, on every page. In our friends tell us, our neighbors tell us, it's what you want us to believe. We don't believe that anymore. It's their alt world that only benefits them. That only benefits them. I assure you that if you get sick and you need to go to the hospital, they're not going to put out a public picture of you asking for prayer all over the state of Tennessee, all over the world to pray for you. It's only for them. They're above you. They have abominated our offices, and pray for them. But pray for your friends and neighbors that are sick too. Pray that they get the same medical care. And if you don't get up and vote, they won't. So this is not violence. Truth speech, exposing, persuasion, voting. We fight by withholding legitimacy, not harming people. Summary. Jesus warned that when corruption takes over, institutions meant to protect people, suffering follows, and the right response is to recognize it, speak truth, and withdraw trust. So we need to stop continuing to perpetrate their falsehoods. Here's some propaganda if you've seen on the front page of the icon. No, forever, for days, for weeks, for months, to have to freeze and hunger out in muddy foxholes. What for? For whom? For them? No. And listen to me, officers of the Highway Patrol and the great officers with the Sheriff's Department. You're out sacrificing, and I'm telling you, do your job, but vote. You know, when something bad happens, and it will in your job, it ain't about doing right or wrong. That's our alt world. You can be doing everything right, and they'll hang you out if you don't kiss the ring. Is that what you want? You want to sacrifice your life for that? That's what you want. I mean, because if you don't, it don't matter how good a job you do. It don't matter how good a job you do. This is what you'll get if you don't worship them. It ain't about doing your job. This was propaganda from her, from that right there. That's what this is about. That's their alt world. This is, and she surreptitiously recorded me saying something that was absolutely within training, and this is something she put out. She put out this herself, and that's pretty accurate. That's exactly how they think, and that's exactly what they do. but they didn't get it done. And we need you. We need you to subscribe, like, share, spread the channel. We're at war, putting out propaganda, truthful information about the enemy. I hate it for them, but let's go. That's what we're doing. That's what I do. That's what this channel is about. This channel is fighting a propaganda war and a war of attrition. Attrition is continue to maintain, regardless of the odds or the opponent. Continue to fight. They're much more powerful than us. They're much more powerful. But we won't quit, and we're going to win, and the truth has value. We need you. We need you to fight for you to fight these people in our public offices. Their abomination and decimation of your rights in the government. Their abomination, they're using it to decimate us and serve them. We need you to like, share, subscribe to the channel, spread the channel, and we can win. We can win this battle. We can win. If we get enough people to subscribe, if we get enough people to vote, if we get enough money to advance the cause, to put out leaflets and put out information. And we can do it on very little if we have to. We're going forward. It's on. Been declared scriptural basis. And we're going to fight. That's what I do. These people are privileged. And they use the government to enrich and benefit themselves. And that'd be fine. That'd be fine. The problem with that is, and I'm not a hater, the problem with that is it is at your demise. The mass populace of the state of Tennessee, like, share, unbridled news, is because it's your demise. Your demise. I guarantee you don't get the same treatment they get. They're public servants. Why do they get better treatment than us? Is that the way it's supposed to be? No, it's abomination. And they are decimating the public. There's so many people got in here. I'll show you how they use the government to say, hey, we're part of the government. We're elitist. You benefit us. I'll show you an example of what they do, how they do it. They're mass propaganda that's false and fake, and it's a dirty lie. It's a dirty, God-forsaken lie. And it needs to be fought with propaganda. It ain't pretty. I hate that for them. It's called the truth. I'm not afraid of the truth. They're afraid of the truth. And they ain't seen nothing yet. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about some pretty damn hurtful things against them because it's God's will. Because it's called war. There's a time for war. Not violence, not with bullets, with truthful information that would demoralize them justifiably. I mean, if you're a murderer and you're a rapist, and I'm not saying all people in government power are, I'm saying like the man that murdered that lady in Chattanooga that got put to death the other day. He was a murderer. If you're a murderer, we put out that you're a murderer. When he got executed, he squealed like a pig. He's not a hero. I don't mention his name, but because he need to be demoralized. Now, when he was put on the table getting juiced up, then all of a sudden he's sorry about what he did, but he admitted himself that he'd keep doing this. And that's the reason why this is on, because these people are going to continue to decimate us. And they have, the abomination is they need to get out of our public offices. And that's the only way to defeat them and get them out of our public offices is to decimate the decimators. And that's what we're going to do. Look at what they do to show that, hey, we're better than you. And look at this right here. Now, this is a proclamation, a resolution to honor the memory of Dr. Bergen H. Wood of Jacksboro. Now, there's nothing wrong with honoring certain people, but they need to honor all people in the same category. Now, there's a lot of people in the military. They don't honor all of them. They only honor ones that are in the government that are part of the elite group, and they're putting out this honor to tell people to leave them alone. I mean, look at this right here. It says here, whereas the members of the General Assembly were greatly saddened to learn of the passing of Dr. Bergen H. Wood. Now, the General Assembly, part of the elite group of people that benefit themselves, that keep themselves in power, were greatly saddened to learn of the passing of somebody that helped them stay in power, part of the elite group, and has a daughter that they want to make sure that stays elite. And I'm not running this man down. There's a lot of military people. Where's their honor to those people? This isn't honoring him. This is not honoring him. This is showing you that his daughter is untouchable. His daughter's untouchable. that you don't bother his daughter because she is part of the elite group of people in power, and you leave her alone. And that's what this proclamation is about. And I'll show you how exactly how it does that. And just like they show how these people are great, honorable people at your demise. And that is so wrong. That is so wrong. It's an abomination what they do. It's an abomination what these people do. And it needs to be stopped, and it needs to be recognized and called out for what it is. I'm calling out for what it is. Nobody else does this. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid to call out our public servants and tell them that they are public servants, that they are not due other than to protect the public, sacrificially protect the public, like I did, which is what they should do. And sure, they should be honored, not above us, not more rights, not elite, not proclamations or resolutions saying, and the reason for the resolution is for them to say, here's the person, here's the people to leave alone that get honored, that can do anything they want to do. And so it's a government resolution, not to honor this man. It's a government resolution to honor his daughter, to leave her alone, that she's an untouchable, that she can commit a abomination of desolation, to honor her as a god is what it is. And so they proclamate that we are gods, that we're important people, that our blood is great, is honorable. And no, it's not. No, it's not. You're not good people. You're not good people at all. You're decimating. You're stepping in our government offices where you should serve the public, where you should make things better for the mass populace. And you don't. You make things better for yourself and decimate the populace, using our public office for self-serving is pretty pathetic. And I'm stopping that. Today it stops. It stops starting December 5th. War has been declared. And I'm trying to, hopefully quite successfully, demoralize her. They won't demoralize her. And it is justifiable demoralization. Resign right out your warrant, turn yourself into jail. This woman ought to be in jail. She lies under oath. She's a liar. She's done all kinds of atrocities. Listen to my videos. But the government says, you'll do whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want to do. Look at this right here. It says here, and I'll show you. Whereas Dr. Wood was an exemplary public servant and consummate professional who worked arduously to improve the quality of life for his fellow citizens in numerous capacities. A lot of Tennesseans do. A lot of Tennesseans do. They don't get proclamations. This is not about honoring him. This is not. This is about saying she's off limits. Promote her to major. Governor, this is who you need to take care of. We're God. This is our God's will. We're the government. Whereas the son of Martha Oda and Olin Berkeley Wood, Dr. Wood served in the United States Navy during World War II. A lot of people served in the Navy during World War II. A lot of people have battle scars that haven't even got their awards yet. Why are you honoring him? It's not about honoring him. It's about honoring her. She's God. We're gods. It's abomination. They put themselves in government offices proclaiming themselves to be gods, above the law, above any kind of justice, and they're untouchables. And they're telling you they're untouchables. They're telling the government, hey, leave them alone, put rulings in her favor, whatever she says goes, doesn't matter about the truth. Our alt-world, our alternative world, our world of lies is right here. Believe the lies, believe the world, that's her name, is on here with this man. How does that happen? Wow. That's false. You won't hear this anywhere else. I'll just speak the truth. These people aren't worthy to be lifted up above other people. A lot of people served in World War II. I know a man that served in Vietnam that has scars on his side that deserves a Purple Heart that hasn't got it. They won't put out a proclamation against him because he's not in the government lifting up people in the government power. He hasn't committed an abomination to infiltrate our government power to serve himself and then tried to decimate people. He simply was in Vietnam and fought to protect this country. So should not have the right to commit abomination, a decimation, with a declaration here proclaiming that she's a god, which untouchable, which is exactly what this proclamation does. I'll just read it. This is how they know they're in power. So whereas the son of Martha Otta and Ola Brinkley Wood, Dr. Wood served in the United States Navy during World War II. He was a long life former, enjoyed aviation, and whereas Dr. Burgeon Wood began participating in medicine and followed on November 11, 1958, and soon thereafter he and his brother-in-law, James D. Crutchfield, formed the partnership in general surgery practice of Wood Crutchfield. There's a lot of doctors all over the state of Tennessee. Do all of them get this? No, only the ones that have committed abomination, their families committed abomination, and now they're decimating you. And this is a proclamation for her. It's not a proclamation for him. Proclamation for her. It doesn't benefit him. He's gone. It benefits her. How does it do that? Let me show you how it does that. Let me show you how. This is our alternative world. This is their propaganda. This is propaganda. This is false propaganda. Saying it's honoring him. It's not honoring him. It's honoring her. It's honoring her. It's honoring Stacy Wood Heather. It says, whereas Dr. Wood was a founding director of the Follett Medical Foundation, which serves the health and medical needs of the Follett community, serves the health community of the Follett community elite, because they're the ones that get put in the press and to pray for, they get in ICU. If you go there and you don't have medical insurance, you probably won't be in ICU for very long, as little as they have to, if at all, and they may put you in the backseat of a patrol car like they hear in Knoxville and on your way to jail when you still should be in the ICU. They would stay in the ICU. She would stay in the ICU and get all the kind of medical help she needed. Any of them would. They're the elite. That's abomination. They should be serving you, not above you. Now, this is what puts them above you. This is called propaganda. This is false propaganda. This is truthful propaganda. This is her own propaganda. She put this picture out herself. I mean, you can just read between the lines. It's a picture painted is better than 1,000 words in it. And you know, hey, this is war. I hate it for you. You picked the wrong dog to fight. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at. And there's more to come. We just started this. We just engaged. It gets much worse. Not with bullets, with propaganda. It's not pretty. Hold on for the ride. It gets much more dirtier. I mean, and it's God's will. It's called war. There's a time for it. Now, if they want to end the war, put up the white flag, turn yourself into jail, and it's over. But they won't. So we'll keep dropping the propaganda truth, because they drop propaganda lies. That's the truth. I hate it for you, but you picked the wrong dog. God trained certain people to do certain things. We're pretty damn good at it. And you just messed up. You got some bad data. So, and this is fun. I enjoy this. So you know, and people think I can't win. I'm winning right now. I'm throwing a punch. It's not about winning to some people. It's not about winning. Some people know that they'll go down, and I don't think we will. Some people just want to fight back because it's right. It's the right thing to do. It's how great things happen. You don't give up not fighting evil. You fight it with truth. So, you know, I hate it for them. They're fighting for lies. They're scared to death of us. I guarantee you they are. I know they are. I've got some more data that you don't even know about. Listen to how many people got in here. And I'll continue showing their propaganda. This is false propaganda from the alternative world that's not true. They live in a universe that is completely false, that favors them and against what they're supposed to serve. They have abominated and our offices, and now they're decimating it. So many people got in here. God bless y'all. Thank y'all for coming. And we're going to keep on spreading the truth. Like, share, comment, spread the message. We're in the fight. We're in the fight. Fighting hard. And we'll keep fighting. And so here's what this says. Whereas Dr. Wood was the founding director of the Follett Medical Foundation, which serves the health and medical needs of the Follett community, serves their needs, not the community. Whereas Dr. Bergen Wood was an active and devout member of Jacksboro United Methodist Church, which he served faithfully for many years. Now they throw the Christian in there. Throw the Christian thing in there. And he might have been a good Christian. I don't know his heart. I don't know. But they do that a lot. They throw the Christian banner. The Christian banner is a banner that preaches Jesus Christ, that gets out the message of Jesus Christ. Now, I've got a degree from a Methodist college, a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, with an emphasis in human resource management from Tennessee Wesleyan College. She has no education from human resource management. She has got a resolution with her name on it from somebody that went to college. And so his degree benefits her. She hasn't got no human resource management. She's got nothing but a bunch of evil, dirty. She's responsible for thousands and thousands of Tennesseans all across the United States, all across the state of Tennessee, to be dead. To be dead. That's the truth. That's not the alternative world. Their alternative world is she's a great, honorable person. No, she's not. No, she's not. She's responsible for death on the highways. That's the truth. That's not defamation. It's true. Under her, the fatality rates went up 45%. More people are dead. You're more likely for your family member, because of her, she's over public safety, over the roads, not to come home. A trooper can knock on the door and tell you that your family member's dead. More likely, 45% more likely, because she doesn't have any education or knowledge to do her job. He did, but this is not about him. This is about her. This is a proclamation. This is an abomination of decimation, similar, symbolic to what Daniel the prophet spoke about. That's going on in the state of Tennessee right now, and I'm fighting that. I'm fighting that. That's what I do. Thank you very much. Pretty good at it. 1.6 million people. Like, subscribe, spread the channel. It gets real ugly. War ain't pretty. I hate that for them. It's because it's dangerous to you. I'm trying to protect you. It is a war of truthful propaganda. And propaganda that demoralizes the enemy in some case, puts out messages to some of the people that are in the government. Lay low. We're going to help you. Help's on the way. And a war of attrition to beat them down. We got a lot more stamina than they ever dreamed of having. So we'll read on. Whereas Dr. Wood was an active member of Jacksboro United Methodist Church, which he served faithfully for many years, they made my degree of none effect. I graduated from a Methodist college, whereas she hasn't. Whereas Dr. Wood was also deeply devoted to his family, and he always endeavored to remain true to family values of the highest order. Family values of the highest order. Does that mean that your daughter gets by with doing whatever she wants to do in the government, getting tax-paid money, getting rid of the trooper that leads the whole state in life-saving arrest, works on the job when she's on workers' compensation, obviously puts out a video, defies even the rules, participates and commits fraud under oath, and the judges go in her favor. Why do judges rule in her favor in every ruling? Because they know there's a proclamation. You rule in her favor against any citizen that comes up against her, because the government put out a proclamation for the government for them to rule in the government's favor. That's how they know. They proclamations. Her name's on here. Look at this stuff here. This is propaganda. This is their propaganda. This is even warning people in government, people, judiciary, hey, you rule in her favor. Look, we put out a resolution. Her name's on it. This is who you go for. This is propaganda to them. This is who we favor. And that's how they do it. Is your name on a resolution? Is your name on a resolution? Then good luck getting a ruling that's fair and that's honest in a Tennessee courtroom. You won't get a fair and honest ruling in a Tennessee courtroom. You'll get propaganda. You'll get her right in a lying ruling. That's what you'll get. You'll get this because that's what they want to do to you. They want to mistreat you. There's a lot more than that. So whereas Dr. Wood enjoyed loving compassion of Virginia Joe Crutchfield wife, his wife and co-pilot, 69 years. Good he got to fly around all over the place. Do you have the money to fly around all over the place? And was a proud father of Stacy Wood Heatherly. A proud father of Stacy Wood Heatherly. I wouldn't be proud of her. That's pretty disgusting. She's a disgusting person. The things she's done to society. The things she's done to society. The damage that she's done. And yes, you're right. I'm trying to demoralize her truthfully, but that is the truth. She needs to be demoralized. She has committed an abomination, invading her public offices with their false propaganda. That's a lie. Her father should not be proud of her. He should be disgusted by the misbehavior of his daughter, who has committed all kinds of public atrocities, untouchables, drunk, calls a trooper to come pick her up, away from protecting the public, and a slap on the hand. Takes the leading trooper off the road in a fraud case, backing up their alternate world that's completely false, lying on somebody, puts out a hit on somebody. You think that's bad? Look at the hit she put out on me. I mean, and that's what she did. I had a picture taken, not for it to be put on the front page of paper by lies perpetrated by her, but they don't want to tell you the truth. They want you to live in their alt world, and you can find their alt world. You know how you find their alternate world? All you got to do is type in Google, and it'll tell you what to believe. They'll tell you what to believe. It's on here. This is what to believe. You know, they won't put that on there. They won't put the proclamation on there where her name is on it, telling the government, leave her alone. She does whatever she wants, whatever atrocity she wants. The decimation is what she does. The abomination is we're God. My name's on a resolution to say that I'm God. I do whatever the hell I want to do. And that's what they do. And then they lie and endanger you. And then they hold up the Bible and say that's God's will. No, it's not. It's not God's will. And God's not going to punish me for speaking the truth to power, and I'm not speaking the truth to them. They'll hear about it, and I'm demoralizing them on purpose with forethought and malice, and it's every bit the truth. The truth is, they put out resolutions honoring themselves so that the whole government knows they're untouchable. That's their alternate world. You believe whatever lies we want to tell you, rule how we want to, rule how you want us to, and we'll stay in power. That's what they do. Listen, many people got in here. Thank you all very much for joining us. And so, yeah, we've been on here about an hour and a half, got 118 people. So spread the message. You won't hear this anywhere else. Everybody's afraid to stand up to power. God taught me to stand up to power. A lesson I learned in my youth, I didn't have a daddy protect me, is symbolically, and I'm trying to be very careful. I'm not advocating any kind of violence. I'm advocating truth-telling. That's harmful enough to these people. Telling the truth harms them. Nobody tells the truth. Everybody types in stuff in Google and reads what Google says, and that's the truth. No, it's not. What Google says is a damn lie. Everybody ask AI, ask artificial intelligence. They put you out a lot of stuff. And you can ask artificial intelligence, and they tell you exactly what the government wants. Artificial intelligence is the government telling you how to think. Argue with the AI and tell you what to say. You can't say that. That's defamation. No, it's not. It's the truth. I know it's the truth. I saw it. Now, they'll gaslight you. Artificial intelligence will gaslight you. You didn't see what you saw. Yeah, right. Yeah, I did. Now, I'm not saying you can't use artificial intelligence. It's a tool, but it's a tool from the government to tell you how to think. Think on your own. Think on your own 2 feet. Think this. They have an alternate world that keeps them in power. Use your intuition. Are things going good for you right now? Are things going good for them? Are they in the hospital with intense medical care getting prayed for? Yes. Would you be in that same situation? Why not? They're supposed to be public servants. Are they? I'll tell you right now. No, they are not. They're dangerous to you. They have committed an abomination, invading our government offices with no intentions of serving you. Or in their sick minds, they think they are. They think they're better than you. And they are decimating you. That is the nature of human nature unless we stop them. More of that is going to come. So you look at Miss Green. You look at Miss Green in the paper. Going against the man that she apparently thinks that she helped win the White House. And I always wonder about people when they turn around and start doing the opposite thing. What's really behind that? And she's framing it on protecting victims of rape. That's what she's hanging her hat on, trying to frame it that way. A well-versed politician. That's all she is. That's all she's a politician. And going against her own party, trying to make a name for herself. And I looked into this. She had several $1 million less before she went into office, and now since she's got insider information, her net worth is about $25 million. She has said, and it's a core principle. It's a core principle to according to the Bible, to bless the nation of Israel. And there is a lot of hatred for the nation of Israel. That's the decimation, abomination of decimation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, is talking about decimating the temple in the end times in Israel. So Israel is important in end times, and Israel is God's chosen people. That's how we got Jesus Christ. And the Bible specifically says, and anybody that believes the Holy Scriptures, which I do, and I ask God to protect me from the abuses of the government and believe that my very life's in danger for speaking out against them. But I trust in the Lord to keep me alive. I'll die not 1 second before God wills me to, and not 1 second after. I'll be alive not 1 second after He wants me to be gone. And I believe God wants me to send a message to people for your safety, health, protection, and well-being. I'm a fighter. That's what I do. You got to know your calling. So Miss Green, and I started looking about why would she turn tide so bad? What is wrong with this lady? And is she maybe right? And you look at what she said about the nation of Israel, and you see all these rogue people, and you see a lot of hatred towards Israel, and it's building up to the abomination of desolation, as spoken by Daniel the prophet, because it's going to take place in Israel in their temple, because the temple is going to be rebuilt, and that's going to happen in the end times. She said is the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific. And that's true. Now listen to what this lady says. Listen what she claims, professes to be a Christian. This is profess to be a Christian. I profess to be a Christian. And if you're not a Christian, you can still listen. You can still, and I'm honest about it. That's my world view, is a view of Christianity. I believe in praying for my enemies. I believe in praying for their turning to God and trusting the Lord Jesus Christ. I believe in praying for their safety, health, protection, and well-being. I believe in praying that they will stand judgment for their abuses of the public. And this is a war for the populace. It's not a personal war. They're in public power. This is fighting people in public power for the benefit of the mass citizenry. Declared by Andy Ogles, a statesman, according to Scripture. But look what she said. She says, October 7th, it is the most truthful and earnest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned. But so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza. But so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis. So she is accusing Israel. She's accusing Israel of genocide, of trying to destroy the people in Gaza, which is totally not correct, which is false. That is, in effect, saying things to demoralize and curse Israel, going to battle against the nation of Israel, directly opposed to what the Scripture says about Israel. Israel is not committing genocide. That is not true. That is false. So she's putting out propaganda as a Christian against the nation of Israel, going against the very Scripture. And I'm not saying we ought to agree with everything Israel does, but to accuse them of genocide, I mean, come on now. So you can understand why she's turned dirty, and she has turned dirty. It is pretty disgusting that she would say something like that. Major Tolligan used the term genocide to describe the situation in Gaza in social media, post on Monday, July 28, 2025. So when you see these people turning tide and putting out some false things, then it is because that they've gone rogue and they're turning against the truth. and they're putting out propaganda that's false. So she's on the wrong side. I'd be very afraid, very careful to say stuff about the nation of Israel. People have no fear. People have no fear of God. They have no fear of God. If there's warnings in the Bible about something, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't get in public office and stand against the United States of America by running down the nation of Israel. And I appreciate our current president standing for the nation of Israel and not and benefiting them. So let's talk about the subject of intuition, and this is how you can know. So we're gonna change the tune and move on to another song. If you're just joining me, it's Charles Van Morgan, the Charles Van Morgan Show. We're broadcasting live in the morning. We are at war, a nonviolent war of propaganda, war of speech, war of information against people in power in the government, specifically in the state of Tennessee, but this applies all across the United States of America. Now, we usually broadcast from the Henley Street Bridge in a beautiful view, but it is too cold for us to be out today. So we're in a suit and tie. And we talked about the abomination and decimation as spoken by Daniel the prophet, and compared that to what's going on in our public offices in the state of Tennessee. And told you some specific instances. So if you haven't seen that, rewind it. So now we're moving on to they have an alternate world, a world of lies. The stuff you believe, you can't. The stuff you see put out, you can't believe it. It is deception. It is complete, utter public deception, and you can tell it's deception by look at how things are going on. Could you get treated medically in the hospital as some of these people that live in their 90s? I mean, you look at all these people that are in the elite group of people. They're living to 80 and 90 and 100 years old, and it's because of medical care. Would you get the same medical treatment? No, hell no, you wouldn't get the same medical treatment. So you look at what's going on in America, what's going on, and you see that you're not getting treated the same as these people. Food prices are skyrocketing. If at the least, the economy should be getting better. There's more machines and more technology and more ways to that we have invented, and AI and things to make where we can make things cheaper. It's less costly and cheaper to make food. Stuff costs less to make because of technology. It doesn't cost more to make a loaf of bread than it did 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Yet the cost of food has skyrocketed. Why is that? It's because of the abomination of desolation as spoken by Daniel the prophet. Symbolically is what's going on in the government, as I pointed out. So your intuition can tell you, and there's so much lies. Satan, Lucifer, and this is a spiritual warfare. You can mark it down. And people in government power have turned wicked, have turned rogue. And the devil, Lucifer, started the fall of man with deception. He lied to Eve and convinced her that it would be better for her, she'd know evil and good, and that she wouldn't die if she did what God Almighty told him not to do. He deceived her. Now, Adam wasn't deceived, but Eve was deceived, and Adam did it anyway. So there's deception. Now it wasn't man was smarter than woman. It is that the serpent got to her first. So a lot of women are a lot smarter than men, and that's the way it worked out in God's divine purpose. But the ideal of and the concept of deception, trickery, and there's a whole biblical principle that deception is in the end times. I believe we're in the end times, and if you don't believe we're in the end times, we're closer to the end time than we were 10 years ago. I mean, you can't deny that we're closer to the end times. If you're an atheist, The sun's not going to burn forever. And what I'm telling you is this fact, this concept that's a scriptural concept, that people are getting more and more wicked. They're getting worse and worse. They're not getting better. They're getting more and more wicked. And deception and trickery and lying and people being deceived, being told something that's true, that's not true, is getting worse. And the information that is been put out to the mass populace is a bunch of dirty lies. And it hurts the populace. It hurts us. And our government's supposed to serve us. And so I'm going to tell you some ways that you can know what's the truth and what's a lie. And it's not real complicated to find out. One way to find the truth is open the Bible and read the Bible. Now you can listen to preachers, and there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of good ones. Some of them say some very wrong things. They lie to you about stuff. And they do. They have their own take on Scripture. They have their own take on what things mean. And God gave people with a mind to listen and discern for themselves, not to have their own take on things, to read the Bible and to learn what it says in the Bible. You can learn the truth by Mr. Lee, by not holding the Bible up, by opening it up and reading it. And one of the things is not bear false witness. Don't tell lies. And I don't lie. I'm telling you the truth. I believe that I'm God sent, telling the truth. That is my intuition. That's what I believe in my heart. That's why I'm fighting this battle so hard. When God tells me different, I won't. But I have that through intuition, through inspiration. I've been a fighter all my life from the age of 2. I learned how to fight on my own. I learned you can punch a bully in the mouth and it will hurt them symbolically. And I actually did it as a child, really. So the way that we can beat this falsehood, and everything you hear is a damn lie, or has an agenda that doesn't benefit the populace. And I'm a populist person. I'm out for the mass population of people in the state of Tennessee. If you want to listen to somebody that is on your side, on your team, that wants to benefit you, that wants to protect your life, that wants to protect your health care, that wants to protect your income, that wants to tell you the truth, that wants to benefit you, the mass populace, there's way more of us than I'm your man. And I believe God sent. I'll proclaim that. I'll tell you that. That's what I believe in my heart and mind. That's what I know. Now, a little unorthodox. God doesn't send somebody with a shiny armor and nice fancy tanks. Sometimes he sends a small person with 5 stones and showed them how to use it. I've been trained all my life. So a valuable technique that you can use in finding the truth is read the Bible and discern it for yourself. Now, the pastor I heard the other day is talking about sin and talking about people will go to hell and talking about if you committed an immoral act and he was talking about different sins, then you would not go to heaven. And that sounds real good and real powerful, and a lot of preachers are so dogmatic. And I can tell you right now, you don't know who's going to heaven. I don't know who's going to heaven. We don't know that. God knows who's going to heaven and who's not. God knows people's heart. And the Bible and Jesus Christ is a message of mercy, a message of love and care. So anybody can go to heaven if they just trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, ask him to forgive them, come into your heart and go to heaven. It doesn't matter what sin you committed. And just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you won't commit sin. So I don't buy that for 10 seconds. I don't buy what some preachers take on the Bible is. But that's one way you can know the truth is the concepts and principles, the core principles that you have in the Bible. For example, one of my core principles is I will not support a party or a candidate that, I don't care what beautiful stuff they say or how beautiful they make the economy. One of my core principles is the value of human life. The value of human life. If there's a politician that doesn't believe in the value of human life, then I cannot support them. That's not going to happen, because that is a godly principle. That is a truth that life begins at conception and God decides when people die, other than the death penalty. So that's one of the main ways that you can know the truth is a biblical perspective on life. Now, people tell you all kinds of lies, and people in public power think they're God, and they're not. When they go against principles of God Almighty, they're lying to you. They're not the kind of people you need to listen to. You shouldn't listen to people like that. So that's one way you can know. Another way you can know is how I know I'm doing the right thing is through intuition. Intuition is a valuable asset and can function better when we recognize it through intuition. Now it is Albert Einstein, one of the smartest men, a scientist that believed in the scientific method. And the news media tells you the scientific method. They say this fact means this fact and this fact logically. They tell you logically, and they're lying to you because they're missing steps. But Albert Einstein, one of the smartest men that ever lived, he said the really valuable thing is intuition. Intuition. So a lot of ways we can know the truth through the concept of intuition. One of history's most influential scientists that believed in systematic thinking, systematic study, interestingly enough, Albert Einstein said that intuition was valuable. So I'm telling you, to get to the truth of things, it's a valuable thing to look at intuition, to look at how you feel about things, not about how you think about things, how you feel about them. I mean, testing theory against evidence is obtained as opposed to intuition is what science is. The ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning is what intuition. I mean, is to look at a set of facts, look at what they tell you on the news, look at the stuff going on in the world, and just think about how that makes you feel, what you immediately come up with. That's called intuition. Don't listen to their narrative that they're trying to tell you and lie to you about, because they will use the scientific method to tell you that this is what they want you to believe. But the scientific method is faulty and they lead you down wrong trails. Just like when they released the video of me to the news media. Stacey Heatherly did that, released that video to me about me in the news media. In the news media, she released the video of the pursuit without authorization, I believe, and she was one of the few that knew about it. She was the liaison with the news media, and leave her alone though. She's got a resolution for her dad, putting her name on the resolution. So believe, leave her alone. But when they released this is how you can use intuition. When they released the video, the public, without any narrative, there was nothing said. It played for weeks without anything being bad said about that until she got upset about it, and she told the news media, "I am sure, no, you don't understand. He's seen the wreck. He's seen it." So then with that narrative, with the scientific method that they use, with the scientific method that they're telling you this is what happened, drawing a circle around it and lying about facts that oh, he's seen the wreck, he's seen it. So, but intuition would tell you, and told a lot of people that why would a trooper pass a wreck? He didn't see it. But she spun a narrative, the scientific narrative, and told you that something happened that didn't. So they'll tell you things. So use your intuition to validate what you may think maybe happened, and a lot of times it very well may be the truth. And so do that. Use your own thinking, your own common knowledge, your own intuition before you are told what to believe and what not to believe. And don't believe what is they get by with because of what they tell you. You can see her name here. This resolution by Mr. Yeager honoring Stacy Wood honoring Stacy Wood Heatherly. So yeah, there we go. So that's how they let their other people know to honor her and let her have special rights. As you can see, Stacy Wood Heatherly, and let her lie to you. So use intuition. So use intuition. Testing theory against evidence obtained, as opposed to intuition, ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. So at first people didn't think anything about that because there wasn't nothing about it. And then they told you scientific reasoning, which was faulty, what to believe. So it is recognized as a natural mental faculty, a key element in discovery, problem solving, and decision making, a generator of creative ideals, a forecaster, a revealer of truth is intuition. So instead of how they tell you to think about things, how they tell you to think about things, how do you feel about things? Without their scientific, without Google telling you how to think, without the newspaper telling you this is a set of facts and this is how you're supposed to think about it. How do you feel about it? How do you really feel about it? People have had life experiences and they know, hey, things don't work that way, the way they're trying to say, but they say they do, and they're giving you a hypothesis and scientific reasoning. But even the best scientist that has ever been known, one of the greatest men that invented things, Albert Einstein, said, the really valuable thing is not their bullshit. It's what do you think? What do you think about it? This is a recognized natural mental faculty, a key element in discovery and solving problems, in decision making, generator of creative ideals, and a revealer of the truth. What does your intuition tell you? We can get better at intuition. We should, if collective problems remain intraceable and the gap between individual desires and fulfillment remains vast, it is only natural. So because there's such a gap between look at how things are going and what they're telling us, what these people that are decimating us, that have committed abomination, the gap between what they're telling us and what's really happening, and they're saying it's scientific, that this is why this is happening and giving you reasons for it, but you don't see no reasons. Wonder if there's a better way to go about knowing things. It's to, and there is sometimes, it's to not believe their bullshit, not believe their lies. Go on your intuition. Science and reason systematically acquired experience. So, but it can be information not consciously available that have may been stored in the past, acquired through simulated or in another non-sensory means. So intuition is not hocus pocus. It is stuff you have gained through your living, through your knowledge, and it's not all the way in the front of your mind all the time. It's just stuff you know how to function. You walk and you don't have to think about walking all the time, but you just know that you're walking. And when you're presented with a lot of facts that these people lie to you about, and you think, well, that's not normally how things work out. And they're telling you exactly how it worked out that way, but you think, no, that's not how you walk. That's not how that's done. And you don't think about it, and you can't exactly explain it. It's something beyond your complete explanation, but you just know based on your world of knowledge that that's not right. That can't be right. It just doesn't make logical. It doesn't make sense. Logically, they say it does, but I know it doesn't work that way. That's not how you walk. You don't walk by tripping, and that doesn't make things better. And they're not making things better. So can be an inkling of a sense of direction, might be only partly correct. So maybe even inkling, like you think because of information you gathered that somebody's going to visit your house. Just you get that intuition, and maybe it's you can't really put a finger on it, and maybe you think they're going to show up next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. You get that intuition. And so maybe they don't show up Wednesday at 9. Maybe they show up Thursday at 10:30. But the intuition was right, but it wasn't exactly right. So it can be partially correct. And it can't be something most people would come up with under the same circumstances. Implied, something unexpected, out of the ordinary, non-automatic is intuition. The difference, individual is a fact, a leap going from a limited set of facts to a general principle, obvious, defensible basis, likely logic when it does not. It might be called logic. Example, having known basis. So, but just because the intuition fact can be logically sequenced, constructed after the fact, doesn't mean that it's not intuition. It's about knowing something is not right, not afoot, not correct, without knowing why you know that. Now, you might figure it out later. Now, how many times have you been in a situation where things weren't going right? That you knew that the environment wasn't right, that it wasn't correct, or something wasn't true, or something wasn't right. And then later on, but you didn't pick up on it. But then later on, you've seen how, hey, that worked out bad, and I should have known that. You picked up on clues. So being more aware of clues, of what the news is telling you and what people are saying to you, and picking up on things, and being more aware and letting your intuition be more heightened can help you be more aware of the fake stuff they're trying to tell you. Sometimes it's not so much an answer as an insight into the real nature of the problem. I mean, they tell you all kinds of reasons why things aren't going bad, but common sense and people living will tell you intuition that they're not doing right. Intuition does not come from nowhere. Intuition comes from dogged rational work in the preparation phase, is of extreme importance, practically in special fields. So the way to be better intuitive and to know things is to be more self-educated, to educate yourself in different areas. And one of the best ways to get educated is to go out and experience that yourself and see for yourself the way things go on. For example, I've been in the government. I know how the government works. It doesn't work for you, it works for them. I can tell you that right from the start. So not only doing it yourself, listen to people whom you trust who can tell you the way things are actually going. They're not going right for you. The government doesn't serve you. They serve themselves. I know that. I used to work in the government. One of the worst government officials is this right here, one of the most dangerous to you. It's got a proclamation telling us to leave her alone. So getting more educated and stuff. That's why I'm doing Unbridled News, boots on the ground, to where I can go and listen to stuff that's going on from the scene and tell you what's going on, tell you what's happening. So it supplies more knowledge about stuff, more reading stuff. It supplies a intuitive mind with incentive and raw materials it needs. Maybe a series of incremental intuitions, perhaps with only candlelight, intensifies that, supplies pieces to the total problem. So maybe you can even just get a little intuitive knowledge, and then you get a little more little pieces together where you find out where they're lying to. The ability to generate alternative ways of viewing situations or a variety of potential solutions is an important component of innovation and intuition. So look at the exact opposite of what these people in power are trying to tell you, because they live in an alternate world of lies, of mass propaganda put out from deceit, and lies, and stuff that benefits them. And sometimes they're gluttons. There's stuff that even endangers them. It might operate or minor localized situations, nudging us toward this, tugging us away from that. Might be manifest itself in larger issues, such a sense of calling, for example. So you can use intuition to find your calling for life, like a piece of metal drawn to a magnet. What are you drawn to? And intuition and calling from God tells me to fight people in power. The overpowering certainty that we are meant to follow a particular vacation, or accept some mission, an iron feeling drawn quite irresistibly to a magnet. So the overwhelming certainty that we are meant to follow a particular vocation. And I have an overpowering certainty that I am meant to follow a path of fighting people in government power by putting out truthful propaganda to the public. And I believe that God will help me do that. And I believe he has 1.6 million people in the past few days. And so use your intuition to find out what God's calling for your life is. 5 consecutive coin tosses. Heads come up 5 times. Next toss, people think that it will be a head too, but most people choose heads, but actual odds are the same. But really they're not. Really they're not, because the law of large term numbers says that an event will happen as often as it's supposed to according to its probability. That means that if you flip a quarter enough times, intuition will tell you if it shows up 5 times, eventually it's going to have 5 times that it will come up tails. So intuition can tell you if you got 5 heads in exact opposite to common knowledge that it is equal odds, and it is, but the law of large term numbers tells you that it will be 5 heads, that it will be the same number of heads and tails. Creative people often describe themselves as agents or channels for some other source, instruments for the divine, or having God work his will through me. Intuitive, creative people often think that. Intuitive experience contradicts. It is unexpected, but somehow fits. It comes from within, but at the same time from some unnameable others will produce it, but it is also seems to happen to us. We are involved but uninvolved, absorbed but detached. So you can listen to things presented to you in the news media, different political candidates, what's going on in the world, and listen to the narrative that they've told you. And then all of a sudden, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're listening to some news show, or when you're out driving down the road, the aha moment comes up to you. What's really going on? So sometimes it is at moments when we're not actually thinking about it. If something excites you and makes you happy, sudden insight sparks, it's probably a good indication it's true. Half the battle is becoming more confident in intuition and more sensitive to it. So pay attention to how you're feeling about things other than what they're just telling you. Psychic researchers Russell Targ and Howard Praniff of Stanford Research Institute, how ordinary people compared with their subjects, they found non-psychics could be just as adept in short periods of time. What was important was a general willingness and openness to explore it in greater depth. Some of the faint images or hunches that often pop up in the mind, which we ordinarily reject as spurious or irrelevant. So pay attention to faint or hunches that you have. Pay attention to them. Don't always accept them at fact, but pay attention to them. Allegedly, intuitive groups have certain things in common. They're relatively powerless, some might even say oppressed, treated as though they are part of another group, which is children. That is intuitive people are largely people that are powerless. Braggs-Myers, leading figure in jargon psychology, if one judges these ideals, he concentrates on whether or not they are true. That is thinking judgment. If an is conscious first of like or dislike concepts, or sympathetic or agnostic to other ideals, he poses feeling judgments. So how do we know is it something you don't want to know? That's an early warning. If it's something you don't want to know that you have a feeling of, then that could be That could be intuition. Are you afraid of censor? If you're afraid of censor, that could be your intuition. You need to talk about it. Executives that don't give a damn about what other people think are very intuitive. Are you yielding blindly to authority? History generate ideals. Discoveries that do not conform to accepted views are oftentimes very intuitive. My ideals don't conform to accepted views. I get that. It's because I'm telling you the truth. They have an alternate world. Let's see how many people we got in here. Thank y'all for showing up. Like, share, comment. My views are alternative, are not alternative views. They're alternative views. Are not accepted a lot, but they're the truth. Are you being self-critical? Are you afraid of the new courage to create? Are you being demanding, selling yourself short? So it is a lack of faith. You want to be true. So if you have intuitive feelings because you want to be true, and a lot of falsehoods start this way, because you have a strong desire and ego to be true, we should test our intuition against trying hypotheses that disprove what you're saying. Scientists design experiments to prove a lot of what they want to prove. So intuition are strong beliefs that we don't know where they came from, but we have a vast amount of knowledge in the area. We could have learned it somewhere. We could have that information, and you just have a knowing without knowing where it came from. Right off the top of your head, you just know that to be true. You watch a news show and you know it's false. How do you know it's false? Intuition. And then later you put it together and how you know it's false. But if you have a strong desire to believe something to be true, that doesn't necessarily have to be intuition. So to test your intuitive feelings, you need to try to prove that it's not true. And if you can't prove it's not true, then that's probably a good inclination that it probably is true. That it's probably you're probably on the right track. You're probably telling the truth. So we've talked today about the abomination of desolation as prophesied by Daniel the prophet, how that relates to how symbolically how your government in Tennessee is acting to this day. They have, the abomination is they have infiltrated our government and they have decimated it. And we are at war with our government through not bullets, through truth, through speaking truth to power to you all, through putting out truthful propaganda to demoralize justifiably people in public office. And war was declared December 5th by Andy Ogles, a statesman, biblical scriptural principle. So we're on good ground footing. And so we went through that, and I talked about there's a lot of deception going on. There's an alternative world, alt world. There's their facade where they tell you a bunch of lies to maintain power. And one of the best ways to figure out how they're lying to you is every time they open their damn mouth. But using a means of intuition. Intuition is a knowing but not knowing how you know it. Intuition is thinking about how you feel about things and how you like things and how you dislike other things. It's based on emotion rather than science and them getting you where they want to go. How do you feel about something? And that is one way that we can dispel their false alternate world that they give us every day. It's in Google, it's in the news, everything. It's an alternative point of view that is false. So, and also, quite simply, if you want to know the truth about things, the core concepts, the core principles, and the creator of the whole universe is in God's holy word. So these people have set themselves up as gods in our government power. which is an abomination, similar to what's going to happen in the end times. As gods in our government power, supposed to serve us, and they're decimating the public. And that's what this video is about. I'll look at a few comments, and thank you all so very much for joining me. May God bless you all, and let's try to read a few comments, and we'll let you go for the day. Got a few people in here, so we'll see what comments we got. It says here, okay, got the haters in here. Not really any comments. So thank y'all very much for watching. We will try to be back out tomorrow on the road if it warms up. If not, God loves you and I do too.